Alright, what's up, y'all? It's John with 574Visuals, and you tuning in to What's Your Hustle podcast.
What's your hustle? What do you do? Here to bring money and attention to you. A lot of people want to know, you gotta give them the truth. Here to run the numbers up, we about to go through the roof. What's your hustle? What's your hustle? Here to talk about your grind, how you spend your time. We done brought you to the show, you gotta speak what's on your mind. What's your hustle? What's your hustle? What's your hustle? What's your hustle? Yeah.
Welcome back to another episode of What's Your Hustle podcast. And I'm your host, Cory Pringle. And today we got a special guest. We got 574Visuals here, my man, John Watts. So we about to find out more about his entrepreneurial journey and more about his business and how he came to even get started with visuals. So with that being said, let's hop on into the podcast. John, 574Visuals, what's up, my brother?
How you doing, bro?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing real good. Bro, so tell me, how did you get into wanting to even be an entrepreneur versus just, working at the 9-to-5 job?
Well, it's kind of crazy because when I was growing up, I'm from out here. We lived in the housing authorities, so I knew early on that I wanted more than what I seen around me. So, and I just feel like at an early age, it's just always I wanted to do something else. Like I wanted to be a doctor. I wanted to do this. I wanted to do that. And then as I got older and we started moving from different sides of towns, we went from school to school, different people, different cultures. I just learned that I knew for sure I didn't want to work like a regular job. I just wanted to go out and try to get it on my own.
So you didn't have any family, like nobody in your family was like an entrepreneur, like no family-owned businesses, side hustles, anything? Everybody just all work jobs?
Not necessarily. Mostly everybody worked jobs. A lot of them are in the streets. So I was kind of different. Like I'm not like most people in my family. I kind of went my own way with what I wanted to do with my life. I kind of had a plan though since I can remember. I always had a plan that I wanted to do something. Maybe not on track to what it was then, but I knew for a long time that I wanted to do something other than just working, at Walmart.
Once you made the decision to be an entrepreneur, like what were some of the steps that you had to?
Oh, okay, yeah. So we was doing a YouTube channel, and I created my YouTube channel, and he was doing his channel as well, my friend Mason, and he had ended up getting signed by a organization called Machinima. Mm-hmm. He got signed to them, and it was almost like a friendly competition thing at that point because once he got signed, I was like, okay, if he did it, I could for sure do it. So I went super hard, and I ended up getting signed by Awesomenesstv. And at this time, like I said, this is like 8th grade year, heading into freshman year. I got signed by Awesomenesstv. They had me sign a contract and everything. I'm like super underage, like 15, or not even 15, like 14, 15. And I was kind of grinding on that. And then that's when I started doing graphic design, and that is relevant to what I'm doing now.
So Awesomenesstv, what is that? I never heard of it.
All right, so Awesomenesstv, I don't even know if they're still around, but it's a network within Nickelodeon. Okay. So it's I guess it was like their version of Machinima for YouTube. So it was like a network that they would sign content creators, and you would get paid like a salary from them.
Okay, so you would get paid a salary to create content for them.
Yeah, well, the thing that was tricky with them is that my channel was making like a certain amount of money that I wasn't receiving. The way they set it up was that they made it to where I had to hit a certain subscriber or view count before they released the funds to me. It was like a dirty contract, so I went a long time without getting paid. And then when I decided to leave them when my contract was up, they sent me $100. That's all I made from them for my videos. They took all the rest.
So how much money did they end up keeping from you?
That I'm not 100% sure on. I know it was, it wasn't nothing crazy. I just know it was like a few $100s. I know Social Blade said my channel was grossing like a couple $1,000s, but I don't know how accurate that is because I never seen it. So it could have been thousands. It could have been a couple hundred. I really don't know.
Right. Okay, so you started off within the gaming industry, and then after the gaming, then you dabbled into the graphic design.
Yeah, so I was doing my gaming, and I always stretch myself thin. I got a bad habit of it. So when I was doing the gaming, my friend Mason started taking the graphic design very seriously because at first he started to just do our artwork. And then he started taking it serious. So in high school, he got really good at it when we got to high school. About freshman year, he was getting really good to the point where he was getting paid like a lot of money from people to make logos and stuff. And as 15 years old, nobody else around you is really making any money in your class because we're all going to school. So that I was watching him make all of this money doing graphic design. I was like, man, I want to do that too. But also, I wanted to cut the middleman off because I didn't want to keep paying people to do my thumbnails and stuff. So I started to learn. He started teaching me some stuff. And what he do is he could do pretty much everything, but he mostly was doing logos, which is Adobe Illustrator and stuff like that. And I picked up Photoshop because I learned how to manipulate. So I got really good at Photoshop. I was pretty much a decade in doing Photoshop, and that's kind of what started the graphic design thing.
Okay, and then so was you pretty successful with the graphic design? Like you started getting clients? Like what was happening with that?
Yeah, I mean, I was more so doing it for myself originally, and then I made a Twitter when I was still heavy into the esports, and I would get commissioned by a bunch of different people to make like Twitter headers. I worked with Ryan Oakes for album cover, and then also another big YouTuber named his channel at the time is called iSexy or something like that. His name is Kevin. He's a big YouTuber now still. I did his album cover too. So I started doing album covers, and that's kind of how I started wanting to get into the music. Is once I started doing the album covers when I upgraded from the Twitter banners and stuff like that.
So how did these artists or YouTubers or so forth reach out to you for this? Like, did they just see your work on Twitter and was like, "Hey, bro, can you do this for me?" Or was like you advertising? How did that work?
No, so I still use this technique to this day, but I would contact them like a lot, and I don't know why, but for some reason I had a pretty good success rate, and reaching out to different people that have some type of power. I'll inbox them, and for whatever reason they'll respond, and then I'll go from there. I will also email them too. A lot of people didn't use emails back then, but I would utilize that. If I seen like in their bio, like contact this person for booking, and I will contact them through there as well.
Okay, so it sounded like that you was pretty successful from doing that. So what made you want to jump from the graphic design over to the visual aspect, the music, shooting videos and so forth?
Yeah, so it all started, all of this stuff is like within the same couple of years.
Okay.
So while I was doing the graphic design at the time, around 2012, when the drill music started becoming a thing with Chief Keef and everybody, I realized that they was using the same videographer as Zay Production, and I just thought he was like really dope. So I wanted to pick up a camera then, and then I think I had made something called Audacity Films around that time, and I tried to do the camera stuff then, but as you know, camera equipment is expensive, and I was also juggling between the graphic design, the gaming, all of that stuff, and so I just felt like, okay, I can't afford to do this right now, so I'm gonna wait until I get rich from the gaming to try to start doing the film. And then ultimately I didn't end up doing anything with the gaming.
Okay. So then you just hopped over into the film. So at Zay Productions, he inspired you doing the whole drill movement thing. So but like still, like, what made you like hop over into it? Just watching him, that's what made you do it?
Well, really, I've always, like, when I watch something from doing graphic design, I look at things differently. Cause I like doing things behind the scenes. You'd be like, okay, I know what it takes to actually try to achieve this. So I was doing, like I said, the Zay Productions what really started it, and then I started doing my dog breeding business. And I started to need photographers and videographers to take pictures of my dogs. And I ended up commissioning a friend from middle school, Anthony Foster. I ended up having him come out and take videos and stuff of my dogs when I brought them from Georgia. And when I met up with him, he was telling me that he was going to be going to LA and stuff like that after he got out of school. And I was like, okay, yeah, you could do that, bro, for sure. Like, I believed in it. But, deep down, it's like, you know, you hear that type of stuff all the time, but you don't know if for sure if it's gonna happen or not. But he was good enough to do it, and then like fast forward a couple months later, and he's working with some of the biggest people in the world. So I was like, dang. So it kind of like when I saw that little burn I had from like 2012 when I was wanting to do film then was like reignited because I'm like, dang, if somebody from my city could do it, I could do it. So I kind of left it alone for a little bit, and then I was, you know, Lil Durk, the person at Jerry Production who shoots his videos, I started watching his content. I'm like, man, he's really good. Like, I love how clear the quality is, and the edits and stuff like that is crazy. So I was like, I'm just gonna pick up a camera. I was at this baby shower with my partner Kayvon, who's also part of 574Visuals, and we were just talking about potentially starting up a camera business or a film business, and we went on and bought the same camera so that way we could swap equipment. And that's kind of what started the 574Visuals. It was the start of that.
Got you. So you essentially started because, well, you was inspired from other videographers, Anthony Foster, Zay Productions, but then when you started your not dog grooming, but your dog breeding business, you said, okay, I need photos and videos, and rather outsourcing for that, you just got a camera and just started experimenting, doing it on your own. After seeing Anthony Foster, rather, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's always, like, throughout my life, that's always the start of while I start doing something else. Because when you get into something, you always, like, when I got into the dogs, I need professional pictures. And it's hard to come by that here, or at the time it was. So I was like, I'm going to do it myself. I have that mentality where you want something done right, you got to do it yourself. So I just ended up picking up a camera, and I just got it to take pictures of my dogs. But, like, that burning sensation to like make a music video, I'm like, okay, I just want to do one, and then that one turned into like 10. So right now I've been shooting for, well, we'll get there, but I just started shooting music videos.
Got you. And what year was this when you started the dog grooming and had Anthony Foster to come out? Like what year?
Yeah, this was like 2018.
This 2018.
Yeah, 2018. I got my dogs from Georgia for my partner, and then I hit up Anthony and I had him do a few projects for me with my dogs.
All right, so what year did you start 574Visuals?
Last year.
You started last year, so that's what, 21?
Yep, I started 574Visuals last year. When we made it official, I was working on some things behind the scenes because I wanted to launch with the logo and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And then we did our first video with some females out here. It was a terrible video. You know, we didn't know what we were doing, like really. I watched a few YouTube videos and then I went out there and did it. And then I paid somebody from Fiverr to edit it, and it came out very basic, but that's kind of that's when I started last year.
Gotcha. And so that video, you got paid to do the video, or this was
no?
Okay.
So my strategy, in order to like get clients, I wanted to start off doing them for free, mainly because one, I didn't feel confident enough to charge somebody some money to come do something that I knew I really didn't know how to do. So what I did was I shot the video for free, and then I paid an editor to edit the video. So I was kind of already in the hole because I was doing free videos and paying somebody to do them. And I ultimately ended up getting a PC and learned how to edit myself.
Yeah, I was just about to ask, do you still outsource or do you do it yourself now?
No, I got to, because every time I had paid somebody to edit, they wouldn't do it how I would have done it. Even though I didn't know how to do it, I just knew I wanted to look a certain way. So I ended up getting me a PC, and I was like, I'm going to start editing myself. So all the videos you guys see now are edited by me.
Got you. Okay. And who was that first artist that you did a video for?
Her name is Lady Pruitt.
I don't think I ever heard of that. South Bend artist?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So you did your first video, you get one up underneath your belt, then what's your next move? Then what happened?
I did another free video, and everybody was like, why you keep doing these free videos? I'm like, that first one wasn't enough because it was just like thrown together. I feel like it was just a montage of random stuff. The settings on the cameras weren't right. Everything was like all over the place. But it wasn't bad for your first video, because I look at a lot of videographers' very, very first video, and that was a lot cleaner than what I've seen. But obviously technology is more advanced from when they probably started. But I did a video for Rocky out here in South Bend, and we started shooting for him. and the videos got a little bit better. But we didn't understand. We had a problem with the lenses, so we were shooting with stock, like the stock lenses,
Right.
and ultimately they came out pretty clean. I was still paying other people to do it, but the turnaround for those videos for like a month or two, like because editors were just playing around. One guy was editing for free, so I didn't really want to push him to like hurry up and put the video, because he did it for free. So those 3 videos I did was like I did 3 of those music videos for them, and they all turned out like kind of all right. It wasn't until I started shooting for Scoots out here when my videos got a little bit better.
Gotcha. And so how many of them did you do before you say you started charging?
I would say I did like, I want to say I did like 5 or 6 videos.
5 or 6.
Yeah, because I had to feel 100% comfortable with, like once I got good with the camera, I decided that it still wasn't enough because I still need to know how to edit myself. And until I got comfortable with editing, I didn't want to charge anybody because I never knew when I could get them the video. Like I didn't want the pressure of like I already paid you for this, so where is it at? Like I just wanted to do it since I did it for free. It was done on my time, so that's why I was doing those for free.
So, what's been the hardest part about running a video production company?
There's a lot of things that's hard. The main thing for me, I guess I would say, is like getting out my own head because I be thinking that I need all of this crazy equipment, and then I'll be watching these videographers on YouTube, and they be like, "You don't need all of that. You don't need all of this," and I'm like, "Dang, well, I might not be that good then," because I feel like I do because I'll try to shoot a video at nighttime. I don't have any lighting, so I try to shoot at nighttime, and it just comes out terrible, so I have to scrap the whole video. So really, just getting out my own head and also the editing. Every time I do a video, I want my next video to be better than the last. So I'll be trying to up my editing. I'm like, you just started. Like you need to just like chill out. That's what everybody keeps saying. Like you just like a lot of people don't believe I just started last year at the end of the year, but I did.
What's been the most fulfilling part for you?
I guess the most fulfilling part is when I linked up with Benji. I was at the studio recording a song for my mom for Mother's Day, and when I got done with the session, he had asked for the email, and I had given him the 574Visuals email because I remember the last time I went to the studio, my business email, he's like, "What type of email you got? That's way too long." So I gave him the short email this time, which was the 574Visuals email, and he just like paused for a second, and he's like, "You shoot videos?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "Did you shoot?" I had shot a video for Young Low. It was a mic performance, like a live performance video, and I guess he had saw it and he like loved it, and he had he went crazy. "Oh, that was you?" I was like, "Yeah." He didn't believe it was me, and I had to show him. I showed him my Instagram and stuff like that, and we ended up doing a couple videos after that. Well, we did like 6 videos, but we was doing the live performance videos, and they were crazy. Like each one is getting better and better. We've been pretty much dropping those almost every week, and they were my first videos to get over 10,000 views.
On YouTube or
on YouTube? Yeah.
And this was on your page?
On his page.
On his page,
Yep.
Gotcha. What made you want to do like the live performance mic? Because I don't think anybody else is doing that locally.
Well, that's what's funny because it's all full circle. I think it's funny how life works because, like I told you, my initial like original inspiration to do film was as a production, and it just so happened that my inspiration to do the live performances is also as a production because he started another company called 4 Shooters Only, and he was doing the live performances. I think it was called Off the Block or something like that, and I was watching it, like those are. I think it's so simple and it's so clean. Like the color and everything is like perfect, like so clean. And I followed him on Instagram, and it just so happened that the person who created that was a production, just under a different name. So I started shooting those for Benji mainly because that's what he wanted to do. He wanted to do just like live performances. He liked the way I did them. So we just started uploading them like crazy, and we were the only people out here pretty much doing those. I see a few of them now, but we were the ones really doing those out here.
Gotcha. That's dope. So would you say you kind of like specialize in those, or would you just say, no, I just...
I don't want to put myself in a box, so I would say, I mean, yeah, technically I specialize in those because I could do them so fast. Like my turnaround for those are like same day type of thing, and they still come out they've come out very clean. Now we're just kind of having fun with them. If you look at the last one, we're having fun with them. You know, we're getting props, different backdrops, all type of stuff. We're mainly just having a lot of fun, and we got a big project coming up, pretty big project, my biggest project.
Music video wise?
Yeah, we got a pretty big one.
Gotcha. And so you do all of the planning for the videos and so forth?
Kind of. It's like a collaborative process. So it's some locations I see, I'm like, yo, let's do it like this. But it's mainly themed off of his songs. And then we kind of go from there. Like he'll call me at like 3 o'clock in the morning. I got an idea. Or I'll text him a picture or something. Like, I got a new spot. Like it's like that type of thing.
So y'all really got a good relationship then, a good vibe.
Yeah, and it's crazy because when I first started, I have a bad habit of like I'll hit you, like I hit him up, even though I knew I didn't know how to shoot videos or anything. I hit Benji up, and I was like, "Yo, you trying to do a video?" And he said, "Yeah." So I'm like, "All right, dang." He said, "Yeah, I got to really try to figure something out." But he ended up getting canceled or whatever. And it's just crazy how, like I said, how life works. Where now it went from like me really, because I used to grow up watching them do the 574 Dream Team. So watching them do the 574 Dream Team, I always wanted to be involved. So also that's another one of my inspirations is Jimmy Ball. Like watching them do that 574 Dream Team at that time. I think that was also around the time the drill scene was starting up. So watching them do that made me want to do the videos. And I used to always contact different people like, yo, I want to be part of 574 Dream Team, be our video man. Even though I didn't have a camera, I didn't know what I just talking. So it's crazy how like fast forward years later, now I'm working with Benji.
So you wanted to do it, had the passion, desire to do it, but you didn't have the camera to
I didn't have nothing. Like all I knew is that if they say yeah, I was gonna figure it out.
Wow, so if they would have said, come on, you would have been.
Yeah, I would have figured it out. Because my mom used to think I was sold drugs in like high school because I used to always have new stuff. But I discovered Craigslist, and I would just buy stuff and trade, like pretty much flipping things. So I would have just did that process. I would have sold my Xbox. I would have sold everything. Got me a camera and shoot for them. It would have came out terrible. It would have been a bad idea, but it's all about timing. So now, fast forward years later, I'm working with them, and we got some good content out.
With like all of the experiences that you have and knowledge and so forth, if you could go back, what would you tell the younger version of yourself that could excel that younger person to get to where you are like right now, or even past that?
I would say stay consistent. Like I would tell myself to stay consistent on course, because like I said, I have a problem with like the things I do are not really relatable. Like this all over the place. Like I breed dogs. I tried to be a pro gamer, graphic design, and then the videography, and then I got 2 kids, full-time job. So like I do all of this stuff now, and I be stretching myself then, as my friend Mason would say. And then I just say stay focused on things that are worth your time and stay consistent with that.
Gotcha. That's dope. Yeah, you're right, man. Consistency is definitely the key to success. I heard Jim Jones say on the podcast, I want to say it's Earn Your Leisure podcast, but he said consistency is going to be motivation any day. But like, so when you don't have the motivation, because motivation is just the feeling, but consistency is what's going to take you to where you're trying to go. Yeah,
I've gotten so close to being successful in almost everything that I've done, and the common denominator on why I didn't was my consistency. And mainly not because I was like lazy, it's because I'll spend a week doing this, and then the next week or so I'm going to try to focus on this. Like I'm trying to jump all over the place, and I'm not being consistent with one task at hand. I'm trying to do everything at one time.
So in my last podcast, I was talking about that, about being consistent about that one thing. And a lot of times, it really wasn't until I got my business coach, because I kept trying to do it all on myself. And it's only so far that you can take yourself. But once I got my business coach, and I was explaining to him all of the different things that I had, like I got Faith Hustle, I got Down the Aisle, I got Next Level, I got the podcast. I'm like, I got all of these different brands and different businesses. And he was like, you gotta focus on the one, like just one thing, and then grow that. And even in the book, One Thing, it talk about that. Focus on one thing, like, because you can't grow every single thing at one time. You gotta pick one and let that grow exponentially, you know. So once I start focusing on one thing, that's when I started seeing true success. So it took two things: get the business coach, and then focusing on that one thing. That's when I started to see true success.
Yeah, that's my journey right now, is just focusing up, being consistent. Because there'll be times even now where I'm like, damn, I'm gonna start doing these videos, because like artists here get crazy for videos. Like I said, it's like a couple months ago, I couldn't pay people to get a video from me, besides the few people I was working with that I went to school with. And then now, like, they are super demanding for it. And, you know, I don't necessarily have the time to, you know, shoot a video and then edit all day and do that. Because I got, like I said, I got a 9 to 5 and I have 2 kids. So I got other things I have to, you know, deal with. But that's my main thing, is just trying to stay focused on this camera thing. Because I've seen the trajectory is pretty crazy right now. I see it going somewhere.
If you didn't have a 9 to 5 job, do you think that you could take on all of this new influx of people hitting you up?
Yeah, for sure. I could do it all day long. It's just the job I was working I worked pretty much 12 hours every day, and I had split days off. So I'll have a Wednesday and a Sunday off. So I don't really have a lot of time to shoot. So on each off day, I am stupid busy. Like it's already full, and then I'll look at my kids. I'm like, they get mad when I leave the house, and I'm like, man, like I gotta stop doing this. Like I just think I gotta give them a day. Like I gotta give them a day to just fully have my attention with no distractions.
So why not quit the 9 to 5 job and then just explore the visuals full time if the clientele is, you know what I'm saying, if you have that demand for it?
I would have to see like some real, because it's one thing for people to just hit me up and say they want a video, but the conversation always stops at the price. Mm-hmm. So a lot of them, I pretty much know a lot of people here. So a lot of people that make music, we went to school together, they want a free video. Right. You know, look out for me, they want a free video. And I'm past that, because I was reaching out to everybody who I thought made good music to get a free video, and I couldn't get one. So I'm past the free videos. I did do a job switch that allows me to have a lot more time for this. So that's the move I made, to give more time to do everything, spend more time with the kids, and also be able to do my videography.
Gotcha. So it's rough balancing job, being an entrepreneur and a family.
Kind of. But I did see a quote like yesterday, and I was like, dang. And somebody said like, there's somebody busier than you working on the same thing that you're doing. Like, so it's basically, I took it like there's somebody who has a lot more on their plate, but they're still working hard towards the same goal that you have. So I just think that maybe if I spend an hour playing a game, take that out because it's not productive. Just managing my time a little bit better, because I am a procrastinator. So that's another struggle that I have. So just being accountable and, you know, being strict on myself.
Yeah, man, you know, me being an entrepreneur and then having a family, it's definitely, that's the one thing that has been tough. But, you know, in the book, One Thing, it talks about your business is a rubber ball, and your family, you know, relationships and your health, etc., is like glass. And it's saying, and you trying to juggle all of these different things. And it's saying, if you drop your business, you know, it's a ball that'll bounce back. But if you drop that relationship with your family or with your health, it's glass. It could break. It could be destroyed. Or it may just have a little nick. We don't know. Mm-hmm. But that's the unfortunate. That's the gamble. That's the chance that we take. But it's all a balancing act. the best thing that I could say, like, has been helpful is like just be intentional about like setting the schedule. That's one of the best things that's happened for me is like setting the work schedule. So like currently, like right, my schedule is pretty much from like 8 to 4 or like 9 to 4 or like 4:30. So I try to be home by like 5 so I can do stuff with my family and do stuff with the kids. Cause if you don't, your business, it'll run you. It'll keep you on the scroll, so to speak. You know what I mean? So you gotta set those boundaries. And overall, like it works out better for your body, mental health, and family. Like, but it don't seem like it at first because you're just thinking about the money part or just running the business, being an entrepreneur. But if the family part don't work out, from my personal experience, like the business will never work out anyway, and then ultimately you'll end up potentially losing both, all because you didn't really focus on the family. You know what I'm saying? Your family end up leaving you, and then you lose your family, and then you probably be unmotivated, like, man, I lost my family because of this. Then you stop working in the business, and then you'll potentially let that go, depending on where you at within the business and so forth. You know. So yeah, it's definitely a balance. It's definitely a balance to act, but it's all worth it though. So, you know, that's the biggest thing I can say. Make sure you give your family the appropriate time too. So if we give 8 hours to the business, we got to give just as much time to the family.
Yeah, that's the big, I've noticed with this camera thing, because I've like, you know, since me and my girl been together, she's known that I've always been doing something that is extra, like other than the 9 to 5. I've always, whether it was the gaming or, you know, the dogs, I've always been doing something other than 9 to 5. And it's for whatever reason, this camera thing has taken a lot more time, because when you're shooting videos and just even when I'm at home, like I'm editing. So, and like when I get to editing, it's like I get into this trance where I'm like, oh yeah, I'm just there, like I'm focused on that. And my setup and stuff is in the basement, so they're upstairs. I'm in the basement editing and stuff like that, and I spent hours doing that. It'd be like 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm coming up for bed.
Man, it's definitely a grind. It's definitely a grind, but you know we gotta find that balance. That's always key. But what advice would you give any up and coming entrepreneur, like that's just starting out and they a videographer as well? Like, what would you tell them? I know we mentioned consistency earlier, but like, what would you tell like the videographer, photographer specifically?
I think the most important thing is to do your research. For one, I did a lot of research, and I'm still trying to learn the technical side of the camera. Like, I got my camera, I don't know everything about the camera. I don't know what some things mean. I think I understand some of the fundamentals, but a lot of the stuff I do is eyeballing, and with my history in graphic design and messing with colors and stuff like that, like I know what looks good to the eye. However, I do want to learn the technical side of what a lot of this means. So I would say do your research. If you can go to school and learn some things or talk to a mentor, I would do that. And also networking is like the most important thing when it comes to this, I feel like, because that's gotten me in a lot of doors just from the person I know.
What books have you read that you say have like played a big part into where you at right now?
Okay, so the best one is Charlemagne the God's book. I think it's called oh my God, I can't even think of the name right now. I know it's Opportunity Comes to Those Who Create It, but that was like I read that like at the end of high school when I had just graduated, and I read that book, and it was like I needed to read that book. That's the last one that I read that was crazy good. I just can't think of the name right now. I can't.
And that's by Charlemagne the God, or is it?
Charlemagne the God, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
That was any other book recommendations or books that you have read?
No, actually, I would say another part of my advice is to keep reading, because I used to read a lot, and then I stopped when I started playing the game and stuff like that. My attention span went away. But I read that Charlemagne the God book, and then I was like, I need to start reading a lot more. So I would say that would be my advice, is to read a lot more.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. Trying to see what other questions I could ask you. Why would you say people choose to do business with you versus somebody else?
I think right now, for whatever reason, a lot of people think that my videos are like super clear, and I don't know why, because it's just the lens, and anybody can go buy that lens, so it's not like a talent. The other thing I think is also just Benji's biggest takeaway from it, and I've talked to another videographer that said the same thing, is that my color grading is like on point. So that's the main thing I think is the color grading.
Gotcha. The color grading. Okay.
Mhm.
Bet. Trying to see what else I could ask you. What's your thoughts on networking?
I think it's the most important thing when it comes, well, to life, period. I think it's so, I don't think people understand how important it is to network with people. A lot of people get caught up with being an introvert and stand to themselves and stuff like that. But I think the ability to be able to like blend in any crowd is like very important. When I used to compete, I had a friend that used to, because I used to own the organizations that we was in. So I started basically what they call clans, but we switched up to orgs, and I would own the organization, and I would be the person that would get in business relationships. So there was this company called Jerky XP, which when you have orgs, you want to be sponsored by a business, by multiple businesses that was relatable to the game. So Jerky XP was this gaming company that made beef jerky for gamers. I think it's in Walmart and stuff now. And I would reach out to these people and I would get a sponsorships. And one time me and my teammate was arguing and he was like, I don't see how you could, I don't see how you're just this kid living in your mom's basement and you get these millionaires and stuff like that to talk to you. You're just a kid living in the basement. And like you have, and they think you have $1 million type of thing. And I was like, and I told him then that I think having that mentality, like you have $1 million, is almost more valuable than actually having it because you could never lose it, and that would get you into a lot of rooms. I feel like, and being able to offer something to every circle that you're in is important as well.
Wait, let's explore this concept. I've never really looked at it like that. So you saying acting like you have it is more important than having it in some cases?
Yeah, I would say because he like verbatim when I told him is like I told him that I would rather sometimes I would rather have the ability to give off like I have $1 million rather than to have it, because you could spend $1 million and once it's gone, depending on what you spend it on. But if you have the ability to appear like somebody with $1 million, and that can never leave because it's in you. So he didn't think it made sense. To me, it makes sense. I don't know if it makes sense to anybody else, but to me, it makes a lot of sense because it's always worked for me. So I could talk myself into a lot of rooms just based off of how I present myself.
So how did you present yourself at such an early age to them? So like because you emailing, you're not in the room or you're not calling, it's emailing. So like explain this concept of what you're talking about. Like how did you make that work?
Well, the main thing is my friend Mason. He is a very important part to my life and to like how I am today because he taught me a lot of things. So like I said, he did the graphic design stuff, and once he started doing that, he started working for graphic companies that require you to have a certain level of professionalism, and he's very smart, book smart. And so am I, but he taught me things that like the little technical, minute things that people look for when you like email them or message them. So it's just mainly how I word things, how I format my stuff, and just basically how I reach out to them. I don't come off as just a 15-year-old kid in the basement. I come off as a 20-something-year-old that has a business, like own a up-and-coming organization. Because along with my organization, it's not like we didn't have anything, like any accolades. We were like the #1 North American team in the world. So with that, along with how I present myself, he probably thought I was older, and he gave us a sponsorship to Jerky XP.
So how does that translate over into like right now being an adult? Like, how do you use that same concept, same method?
I still use it. Mainly, mainly the way I talk. You know, everybody give me that. Oh, you talk like a white guy. A lot of people think I am white when I'm on the phone. It's just I just present myself where I talk a certain way, I look a certain way, and then when I open my mouth, people like I think they listen more and they look at me differently just based on how I talk. Because I look, especially when I have my dreads, like I look like this Doug person, but then I talk how I talk, and it's not me acting. And like I'm not acting. This is literally how I talk. And that's just kind of what I've been doing my whole life, just presenting myself, giving people the opposite of what they think. Like everybody has a certain opinion of you when they first see you, but when you talk to them and you have a different mindset. I'm not like most people, so that's how it always worked for me.
So so the person that's listening or watching to this podcast and they intrigued about your $1 million method, right? Like, how could they go about implementing it? Like, if you had to break it down into like some actionable, like kind of steps, like what would you tell them? Or if your son, perhaps, right, was like,
well,
hey.
I think one, it just has to be in you for starters, because like I said, it's not really an act. And like I said, I think for most people, like for him, why he said it didn't make sense to him is because I don't really know how I can make it make sense. Like it's just something that I've done and I've been good at. The only thing I would say is like when you're in certain environments, act like you've been there before. So don't act all excited. Don't act like a fan. Just talk to people like they're normal. Like if you ever come across a famous person, they're less likely to pay attention to you if you're all fanned out. Let's take a picture. Let's do this. You too. They get that all the time. But if you talk to them like a human, they might be like, okay, hold up, you're not treating me like like a star. Like you treated me like a friend, like a regular person. That's the most advice I can give you in a scenario. But it's kind of hard to explain that kind of like a quote that I just said. It's kind of hard to explain. It makes sense to me in my head, but I really don't. I've never really thought about how I've used it. I just know that's just what I've been doing.
So with all this being said, what do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
That's a scary one because I think about this all. It actually gives me anxiety thinking about it sometimes because I expected myself to be like super rich at the age of 25, and I'm 25 now. I'm like, dang, I'm a little bit off schedule. So I think in the next 5 years, I could see 574Visuals being something pretty big. Like I said, I don't want to just get caught in a box doing music videos because my vision is so far past that. I've started to write short films. I'm trying to do stuff like that. Interviews, short films, documentaries is the most. I think that's like becoming the most relevant. Or the most popular thing for people to watch nowadays, the docu-series, and I watch that all day long. I love documentaries. So I really want to do documentaries. That's where my end goal is for this, is to start doing documentaries.
Okay. All right, well, Bet, we appreciate you. Thank you for your time, John.
Yes, sir.